What's up, people? Okay, people. I posed a question. I'll be happy to discuss it. Um, Basically, philosophize over it more. Um, but I gotta let you guys know you're not answering the question. You're not even responding directly to the question. Now, the question was facts and or evidence or witness with personal first-hand knowledge that the law applies to you or the codes that they use apply to you. Here's a couple answers. One was earlier, point blank period, it applies. And I had to let the brother know that is not a fact. Point blank period is not a fact. Okay? You cannot be asked a factual question and you respond with point blank period. Second, another key point to let people know when you're probably off base is if your response is really long. Like, if something applies to me and I ask you how, I'll give you an example. If we'll use this guy here, what's the quarterback guy, Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers does or say something in the media, Twitter, whatever, and his owner of the Green Bay Packers comes and says something to him about what he says, and he either fines him or reprimands him in some way or whatever. Now, Aaron Rodgers taking that fine from that owner is legitimate, and is legitimate because it can be traced, the legitimacy can be traced back to a mutual agreement between the two. Aaron Rodgers agreed to be a Green Bay Packer, and in his agreement to be a Green Bay Packer, that means what comes along with it is he has to follow and obey and adhere to all the rules, regulations that go with that organization called the Green Bay Packers. Okay? There's a starting point. There's a connection. There's a connector. Like, there's not a connector, is what I'm saying. Like, you guys aren't answering the question, and I'm asking a factual question, and I need that fact, because the fact is the connector. Point blank period is not a connector. That's not showing anything. One of the brother also replied saying, basically referencing that I don't have an army, so I can't do the things that I say. First of all, that brother, I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way or to knock what you're saying. What I'm saying to you is that just further lets me know that you are not clear on what I'm actually saying. I am totally aware that I do not have an army. I'm totally aware that I wish I did. I'm totally aware that I do not possess the military force and might to overtake certain groups of people to leave my people alone and let us prosper. But at the same time, what I'm asking you is facts and evidence that it applies. And the reason why I asked you is because you earlier stated that it point blank period does. So therefore, you're indicating to me that you have facts and evidence or proof that it does apply. So when I ask you for said proof and evidence, you replied with point blank period. That's not the answer. You replied with, well, you can't do it without this, that, and the third. Like, yo, that's still not giving me the facts that it apply. First, initiate the fact and say, yo, it doesn't apply. Like, start right there. Like, you have to start there and say it doesn't apply. I scroll down. I have another one. You're born here. Do all the laws apply to you? Question. And they replied saying, this country was built for the people, by the people. Okay, here we go. That's an opinion. That is not a fact. First off, that beyond that not being a fact, that is extremely vague. For the people, by the people, what people, and for what people, and who exactly were these people, and when did they make an agreement, and when did the people who weren't even born afterward, who it was supposedly built for, where did they make an agreement that they're obligated to live in something that their great grandparents supposedly built for them? What if they don't want to live in it? Not saying it's right or wrong, Stop jumping. I'm asking you a specific question. Where's the facts and evidence that that is true? Where's the facts and evidence that if I build a company and I'm building this company up to $1 trillion company and I did this all for my sons and my daughters, and when my sons and my daughters and sons and all that shit, and when I pass, my sons and daughters get together and say, nah, we don't want to run a business and sell it. Are they wrong? They're not obligated to live out a fantasy that I projected for them. So when I'm asking you for facts and evidence, man, like these answers, it was built for the people, by the people, that is extremely vague. That is an opinion, and that is not covering a fact. If I ask you a factual question, I'm going to need an answer. And it should not be these long, drawn out paragraphs, because if it's that obvious, it shouldn't take but a second to prove. Like, I don't need to write you a long paragraph to say and show and prove that 2 plus 2 is 4, not 33. Like, I don't have to go through that. There should be no reason why I need to do that. There should be no reason why anybody feels the need to educate me on black people being here and the Confederacy that we had. I am totally aware of all of that. And even with all of that, I hear that all the time. Like, most Moors say it, most freemen on the land say that shit. They say things like, well, the reason why you being judged is because you being judged in the Christian black codes because you're classified as this. And when you, even if I what, you're still not getting it, dog. You're still not getting, when did this motherfucker have the authority to say that thus and so for me, and I don't have a question or say in it? Like, the whole legitimacy of government, if it's not voluntary, is compulsory. That's like the reason I'm asking you this question, is so you come to the clear understanding that, yo, it's all compulsory. You do it or go to jail. It is not you do not have a choice. The fact that your choice is removed from it makes it compulsory. It makes it no longer requires facts. That's why they don't have facts. That's why U.S. Supreme Court judges have stated, yo, it's a blunt assertion of power. City councilman told flat out, when asked the question, flat out said, we'll lock you up. That's our proof. That's an arrogant appeal to authority. Like saying, if, like I said before, if you don't do what I say, or else I'll lock you in a cage and or kill you if you don't want to go in that cage. Like, I don't understand why y'all keep coming back with all these. I mean, if you're born here, you still not explaining how me coming from the universe or wherever the fuck I zapped in from, coming into my mother, popping it in there, popping in that oven and baking for 9 months, coming out now, it's because I was born on this particular patch of land, means that all this shit that these people got going on applies to me and is my burden. And if I do not adhere to and or follow or listen to it, I can be caged and or killed. Do you know? And like, yo, these people are nothing but men and women forcing you to pay them. And the sooner you get to that realization, the better. The sooner you understand that you are not a citizen, because a citizen is one who owes a duty of allegiance. For what? In return for a duty of protection. If the Supreme Court has already ruled that the police have no duty whatsoever to protect you, therefore, if they do not have a duty to protect you, you obviously do not have a duty to listen to their laws, because it canceled out, because there's nothing getting. It's like taking without giving and receiving nothing. You're just giving, and receiving nothing in return. And nobody does that. Nobody does that and calls it not what it is. Let me say that again. Because I keep thinking you guys misunderstanding where I'm coming from. I understand fully, and I'm totally aware a couple decades ago, of how I'm living and how things operate here. What I'm trying to explain to you is, you can know how it operates here and still be under the fucking trickery of actually thinking something it's really real. No, G, it's all fake. There is no such thing as a citizen, because there's no duty. So like anybody who says that is full of shit. There is no way that you can prove that the Constitution applies to you. How can you take a 100 or 200 or however year old document and say that this fucking shit applies to you when it wasn't even the people who wrote it didn't even bother to sign it? The only way the Constitution could apply to you is as a contract, and it's not even. It doesn't even call it. It's not even purported to be a contract. Okay? Then you say things like social contract. It's social contract. I know that's going to come up in the comments soon. Well, it's a social contract. Again, the word contract. Contract means, first off, a meeting of the minds. And you come into agreement. And both sides are coming into agreement on the terms, yo. You're coming to an agreement on terms. When did you get asked anything? When did you come to an agreement? Like, yo, you were never. We rule by the consent of the governed. Like, girl, consent requires me to give it to you. Which means if I have a choice whether to give it to you or not, I can't not give you my. You can't tell me you have a choice to consent, but if you don't consent, I'm gonna fuck you up. My problem is you guys don't want to call that for what it is because many of you probably have government jobs and you don't want to feel that that's what you represent. But that's just, it is what I'm not mad at you, man. You gotta eat how you eat. What the fuck? Like I ain't corny like that, man. I would never look at nobody and judge them working for the white man. That's say that for Polite and Sonetta and them fuck niggas. Want to talk about you about how you get your paper in this hell. However you could make it and survive, bro. If you could trick these niggas and get 10 disability checks and nigga go get a house and get a car and try to get a business and whatever, like survive, man. Like this shit is not no fucking joke, G. But at the same time, like yo, I told you guys when I say I look at things from a rudimentary level, it means from a base level, G. Like yo, it's pay or go to jail and or die if you do not want to accept my cage. You can so don't bring up constitutions, don't bring up jurisdiction. Juris just means yo, juris is law. Diction, of course, you know, words. That's all it means. Law words. That who made up? Who is this person? And when you tell me who this person is that made these laws up, you also have to tell me when they got their authority over me. Who, when, where, why, and how did they come across this authority? Other than what they've already stated, what prosecutor attorneys already stated, U.S. attorneys already stated, city councilmen already stated, do this or else. That's compulsory. That's that citizen born here. Doesn't give a fuck. You think just because somebody that's what you're saying. If somebody come from Tijuana, Mexico, and come over here and do something fucked up, they could just walk around and get away with it because the laws don't apply to them and they're not born here. Like, come on, man. You have to think that through.